Hi guys, and welcome back to another video about Dragonheir Silence God. In this video I want to talk about Goblin Lair. I know it's late in the season and probably most of you have already figured it out, and there is no much need for you to learn how to do this fight. But we had recently received news that from ahead of season 2, most of the dungeons are going to change, all the bosses are going to change and have new skills. That information is contained in this letter that all the player have received, where they mention that all dungeon bosses will be revised, but there is no mention about Goblin Lair. And considering that the affinity are going to rotate and we're going to have different pairing, I think it's worth to think through what we do in Goblin, what are the skills that we look for, what kind of gear are we using, and take that in consideration when we're thinking ahead of season 2 and think what team we can build to do the same job very soon. So let me jump into it, and I'm going to show you my comp and the thought process in putting this team together. So as you can see, there is a tank on the front. I'm using 4 damage dealer on the back. They are placed in a way that usually doesn't move too much around. The sole purpose of the tank on the front is to run forward and gather all the enemies together. I'm using Ergander because he has a taunt skill, but you can use Horus, you can use Furbat. Maybe if you use Furbat, the enemies are going to spread out a bit more. Sometimes, if you use Horus, he has a taunt skill as well on his ultimate. But you're not expecting much more from your tank. He's going to be there to do that job. Keep himself alive, gather together the enemies, keep them grouped so you can do a lot of damage with your AoE skills from the other champions. On the back line, I'm using 2 rares, an epic, and the main traveler character. And the main traveler character, everybody has it. It does a lot of damage, has a very short recharge on the AoE ultimate. The battle skills does also a lot of damage, so you can reliably build them or her for damage. Use the Silver Crest, Silver Star Horseshoe, which give you more crit damage and extra attack speed. Here the attack speed is not fundamental. And all the champions you're going to see, all the damage dealer, are going to be built pretty much in the same way. So I'm not going to show the builds every single time. It's going to be in executioner set because we're trying to ignore the defense. It's going to be crit damage, positive rune, and anything that really works on the negative runes. It's going to be preferably attack with crit rate. If you don't have it, anything that give you damage. Crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, anything on the substat that is really good. Now, the Traveler is going to stay probably Fire, Ice, and Lightning. So we could consider reusing it for Season 2. The other champion I'm using is Dane. Dane is also built in the same way. Executioner set. We're ignoring defense. 100% crit rate. We push as much crit damage as we can. And we try to use his 2 AoEs to do as much damage as possible. The 2 rares are Eli. Eli has been my aura, my increase attack aura by 18%, which is help you a lot during this fight. He has sort of AoE ultimate skills, hits only the center of 3 rows, which is very annoying because sometimes he moves on different lines and then he starts hitting only side of the board. So most of the champions might group on the other side, they are not hit. Or sometimes when only one goblin is alive on the side, it doesn't use the ultimate because it is not able to hit it. And the last champion is Sigrid. Sigrid has this ultimate that hits only one champion, but if they are under debuff, she's going to use it on everybody. She's going to eat everybody on the board. And this combined with her passive that she regains 25% of her ultimate energy when some enemy die, she's going to spam the ultimate over and over. So let me run one of this, and you're going to see what I'm talking about and how it works. So as you can see, Ergander run forward, the rest of the team does the damage, main character destroyed the first wave, Eli spam his ability, and then we get to destroy the second wave as well very fast. I forgot to mention that Ergander is geared with the 3 year set. As you can see, this goblin is run away now, and so Eli is not going to be able to hit him unless he hits this way, which is very annoying. So Ergander is built with the 3-hero set. It gives increased attack to my team. Considering it's there only to do the run forwards, at least he has some utility, and he has also the Crown on the Unclean. Not that it's really needed in this fight. It just places decreased defense on one of the champion or one of the enemy, and therefore is not massively needed, but it does help. So you can see we're going to place increased attack, and then we're going to destroy the wave. That enemy didn't have any buff, so it's not been hit. So this is the run. It's very quick. It's usually around between 50 and 47 seconds. It's very quick and reliable, as I said. Now, let me re-jump into it so we can talk about a bit more about gear, for example. We're not going to have the same set of gear for next season. The increased attack is going to be probably related to placing debuff, and we need to see how that works. But if that's the case, it's going to be working pretty similarly. So we place in debuff, and every time we place in debuff, we have increased attack on our champions. We're going to keep the artifacts. We probably have to re-level them, but the artifacts might be the same, so keep that in consideration. We're still going to need to think about an increased attack aura. And in regard of the rest of the gear, this set will be gone, but is already mentioned in the same letter that is going to be another set of gear that has ignored defense. We don't know the percentage yet. We don't know what attributes he has, but we hope it's going to be something similar. Now, when it comes to thinking about the next season, we need to take in consideration what the new pairings are going to be. And the new pairing for the new seasons are going to be the following. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see them as well. Fire and Necrosis, Lightning and Poison, Ice and Radiant, which is going to mix up the way we build our teams, and we're going to need to rethink what pairing we're going to use. Now, we could easily go for a full affinity one, so if you have a lot of Fire champion, you can just build a good Fire team or a good Necrosis team, but it depends on what champion you have. I'm not going to talk much about legendary unless there are free or achievable champions that you might have or you can get. And therefore, I'm just going to talk about mostly the rares, the epics that we can put together and try to think what composition can work. So in regard to the Fire Necrosis composition, we're still going to have our Traveler. It's still probably going to have the same skills. Hopefully, I don't know really for sure, but there's no mention of any change. So the Traveler might have still that big AoE hit. We could use Erich as a free legendary that if you finish the storyline in Season 1, you should have. If you don't have him, probably you should get him. And he's a good damage dealer. It's a bit weird because it has a very good area on the damage, but his hits are basically 5 single hit. It does a lot of damage though, so we could keep that in consideration. Dane is going to be another crazy good, still a good option for this fight. And then on the Fire champion, epics at least that I have, I can't really think about anything else. There are some good rares that can be used and be inserted in your team. In particular, maybe Dubok. He has a large diamond shape AoE on the ultimate and a single target stun on his battle skill. That is not really useful. He does decent damage, but I don't know if that is going to be enough to make it and to cut it to a team. So maybe we're going to have to resource to Necrosis to do this job. And the champion I'm thinking about the most is Zarlot. Zarlot is an incredible epic. It does this 5 hit on his ultimate on a big diamond shape. And then he does a good area damage on his battle skill as well. He does damage if you build him for damage, and he has the increased aura in all battle by 24%. So if you use him, you should gonna use this aura for sure. And if you run this 4 champions, the only other things you might gonna need is a tank. And that, as I said before, is really not relevant. You can use your Horus, which is the champion we all get, or you can use Irma or Fitz. It doesn't matter. It's only gonna be up front there to keep the team together. Irma is a good option, to be honest. She's very tanky, she does damage, so you can build her with a lot of defense, and she's going to be doing a good chunks of damage. If instead you're lucky, you have one of those crazy legendary that does like full board AoE or crazy damage on AoE diamond shape, like, I don't know, Prisma, Levanis, Rippercast. Those champions are going to be in your team for sure. If we're switching over to the lightning and poison coupling instead, we are going to possibly use our main character on lightning. The ultimate is an AoE stun. It does damage, it does a good amount of damage, so we could switch it to lightning and still use it. We still gonna use our crazy good rares, Sigrid and Eli, if we want to. There is another one that is a decent option, which is Dench. Let me get him out. I haven't been using him in this season, but I've heard he can do good damage. He has a good 3x3 ultimate and a 3x3 battle skill. So you can rely on him to do damage on all his skills. And then for the coupling in lightning, then it's going to be a bit more difficult at the moment, because there are not many AoE damage dealer in the lightning affinity. I'm thinking about Arena in particular, maybe because she does this 3x3 and she does this bounce damage on her battle skill. So she's going to be able to do a lot of damage for your team. And again, the tank can be anything. It doesn't really matter. Again, you can use Furbat. You can use anyone else. Yeah, and again, for this team, if you have legendaries, you probably cover anyway. You can use a Gunder here. We can use anything. Probably this team will work and will do the job. In regard instead of the Ice and Radiant team, I'm a bit short of option over there, to be honest with you. If you have those crazy AoE damage dealer legendary again, you're gonna use them all. If you have Oberg, Laurentiel, if you have Filto, and you're gonna use all of them, but you're gonna use them regardless, because you're gonna bring your tank on the front, and you're gonna be bringing 3 or 4 AoE damage dealer Radiant Rally, and you're gonna destroy this dungeon with a full Radiant team. So you're not gonna even be looking for pairing for anything that is ice. But we've got Dritz from this event with collaboration with Dungeons and Dragons. So most of us have him. He does a very good damage. Is a 6 hit on the ultimate, and he has a 3x3 battle skill. So he can be a very good damage dealer up on the front. He's a melee champion, so you need to keep him alive for the fight. And he brings the Panther as well, so he's going to do a lot of damage up there on the front if you use them. Another good option is obviously going to be Voresh. Voresh has this ultimate skill that hits the entire board 3 times. He does a lot of damage, and then he has a single target battle skill, which was not going to be massively irrelevant here, but nevertheless, he's such a good champion that you're probably still going to use him. We have Usha, which is another melee champion. She's going to be running on front again. She does a lot of damage on a 3x3, so she can keep the enemy together and hit them. She can work with Dritz as well, so you might be running both of them together. She shields herself, so she's tanky and she can survive quite well. And then we have, I don't know, Rava. Rava has a diamond shape ultimate that can work very well. Single target battle skills, so that doesn't really line up too much. We can then look at the rest of the epics and rare. Maybe Rowena can be good. Rowena has a massive hit on her ultimate and a single target on the battle skill. We could run Vidimir. Vidimir has this bouncing skills on his ultimate. They can help all the enemies, and he has a cross shape. I wish this was a diamond shape, to be honest. If it was a diamond shape, it would be amazing for this fight. Unfortunately, that cross, which I've never seen in any other champion, is a bit limiting him. But it's still going to be very good for this. This is pretty much all the champions I'm thinking for now. We obviously don't know what other champion they're going to introduce. They already mentioned that there are going to be 3 new school of damage. One is going to be for fire, one is going to be for lightning, and one is going to be for the ice. The fire and the lightning in particular are going to be interesting because the burn and the thunderbolt are mentioned to be AoE. And this is probably going to be the best set of skills that we've seen that you can use on this battle. The only thing that we might need to keep in mind for that is that the is a school of damage. So it's going to be similar to wild or summoning or dauntless. So it means that you're going to need to have at least a pairing of them to do a lot of damage and to enhance their ability. And early on in the season, that's going to be very difficult because there are new schools, the champions are coming in, none of us were going to have them. We need to pull them from dice, and sniping a single champion sometimes can be very difficult. So I wouldn't rely on that, at least early on. Maybe later in the season, you might be able to do so. But that's it for now, guys. I mean, we've seen what this team can do, and we've gone over the skills, so we can be a little bit more prepared for season 2. I hope you enjoyed the content, guys, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another video about Dragonheir Silence God.